Hi there, this is Dani. The channel is You and Me Living Free. And one of the last videos I did was about, changing my plans and having to move things around and how it's disappointing, when that happens. And I was thinking about it, thinking that, when I was a little bit younger, maybe even not when I was younger, but even not in the very far distant past, I would have been very disappointed and upset about that situation. And I think that there are a few different things that help me have the perspective that makes life less upsetting and more easy to kind of go with the flow. I feel like everything is happening to show me how important perspective is right now. If I look at something as a failure or if I look at something as a learning experience, speaking specifically about the intuitive eating maybe, but it goes over and colors every single experience in life. Are you looking at it as, I failed, how could I have been so stupid? Or are you looking at it like, wow, look at everything I learned, I'll never do this, or this again, or whatever. But speaking specifically, getting myself already going down a different path and narrowing it down to dealing with disappointment. And here's how I think these little things have helped me, and maybe they'll help someone else. The first thing is this. The first thing is I have this kind of overall attitude that things happen for a reason, even if I don't understand them. And here's how this is helpful. When I found out I couldn't go to this place I really wanted to go to, then my first reaction was, well, I'm not meant to go today. I'm not meant to go today. There's something, maybe it would have been an accident with the wind. Maybe it would have been a bad experience. Maybe it would have, there's this whole tapestry of life happening, right? All these things coming together, and I can only see my little pinhole, my little bitty perspective, right? There was something unknown that would have or could have happened that would have been negative, and I was being shielded or guided away from doing that. I had an intuition, did my research, really wanted to go, because you could tell even in the video I was like, okay, I want to go, but I'm going to be kind of cautious. Let me do a little research. And then I was like, okay, I'm still going to go. And then I stopped again and I was like, okay, I can't go, right? All these different phases. But I think I knew in the beginning, but I had to kind of convince myself because I really did want to go. So if you're telling yourself things basically happen for a reason, and I may not understand it, but that's just that happened. So even though it might not make sense to me now, it must make sense in the big picture, right? Another way is there's so much going on in my head right now. Okay, so that's one way. But here's the problem with that. The problem with thinking everything happens for a reason is when you see in life, and we all see it, we all see terrible things happen to good people, happen to innocent people, happen to normal people all the time. It could be a cancer diagnosis, it could be a terrible accident, it could be anything. Terrible things happen. And I'm not, here's the thing. I'm not ready to say this is how life works. We're all attracting it to us, or it's all just part of the tapestry. It's part of a plan. It's all working all the time. I can't say that on a large scale because I don't personally know how it works. But what I do have is a faith of understanding, a thing of, I have a hunch this might be how it works, and I'm just going to do my part. But see, that comes apart like, oh, if everything happens for a reason, then you look at these terrible things that happen and you're like, that kind of falls apart a little bit, okay? Because if you're looking at things at a distance, oh, terrible things happen. Well, when they're happening to someone else, maybe you can tell yourself, oh, that's part of the bigger tapestry, that's meant to be whatever. When it's happening to you, you're kind of like, it's a different thing. So it's just a different perspective. So I'm not sure that I can say everything happens for a reason. This is for the best, right? Even something terrible. But in my own mind and my own experience, I have adopted this attitude of things happen for a reason not because I'm sure it's true, but I know there's some truth in it. And I know that thinking that way helps me deal with disappointment. It helps me feel more powerful, less devastated, less like a victim when things don't work out, because I'm convinced there's a silver lining. And I'll tell you one thing about my optimism is that I've talked about this before. I'm very optimistic to the point of going into denial. So it's something I have to watch about myself, because my optimism is so kind of overboard that I can go into denial about things. And I don't want to do that. So what I'm saying is, if things happen for a reason and you get a disappointment, you're like, okay, I might not understand, but this is working for a reason. It's working for me. Everything is working for me. That's something that part of me believes without having to understand how the whole universe works. Here's another thing that has helped me. When I was in survival mode, and when I'm just barely making it financially, I'm just holding on, I'm feeling like I have no choices, I'm feeling trapped, feeling all those things in survival mode, feeling a lot of have to, a lot of should. It doesn't feel like life is full of possibility and opportunity. So coming from a place of lack, if I hadn't been able to go to the caverns, my place of lack might have said, this is my only chance. And if I don't go now, I can never go. And think about how devastating that is, between having an attitude of it's all working and the second part of that, there's plenty of chances. Things are working out for me. There are other possibilities. There are other times. There are other opportunities. So it's much less devastating that if you're not framing it like, well, if I didn't do it now, this is my year to do it. This is my year to do it. And I'm on my way home and I don't know if I'll even be traveling, like things are in flux. And I could have said to myself, this is the only chance and now I can't do it. And look how much more disappointing that is than thinking, well, there's next year, if not before then, or maybe this, or maybe that. I'm leaving space open. So without being in survival mode and having more of a space in my life for possibility and opportunity, then that also helps lessen the disappointment, right? And here's the other third thing, and this is just a practicality thing. This is a practicality thing. It's also kind of a very Zen thing, but it's very simple but very deep if you can do it. And that is, look, this is what happened. This is what happened. So fighting against it is a complete waste of my time. I hate the phrase sometimes, but it is what it is. I mean, it happened. And so I may not understand why. It may not even be of benefit. Any of that. I may be able to go there again. I may not be able to go there again. But I know that it happened. So the conditions are too windy. It's not safe for me. There might be snow and mountains. I don't feel safe, and the thought of going through the day just white knuckling it to do something fun at the end maybe was not worth it. So I made the decision, and that is that. I made the decision. So fighting against what is, fighting against the reality that we find ourselves in, is completely useless. Now, that is one of the easiest things to say. And if you're kind of in the right zone, it's easy to do. If you're not, you can fight against it and fight against it and fight against it. So sometimes I just like breaking down these things that are part of our everyday life and really looking at it like, that could have been a really big disappointment, and it wasn't. And I blew it off, and I I was just fine, and I'll make tentative plans to try to go back, if things work out this way or that way. And it was so much better, because I'm convinced that it's not so much what happens to us, it's how we deal with the things that happen to us. And that can be a small disappointment or a life-altering event. It's all the same. And it also shows me how my view of how the world works impacts my everyday life, if that makes sense. It's kind of the same idea with having your word for the year, because you want to focus yourself in this year. My words, I picked 2 this year because, I can't do just one. I've always done just one, but this year I have 2, aliveness and inspired. So it's not just enough. I don't want to be motivated. I don't want to be empowered. I want to be inspired. I want to be inspired. And in those moments when I'm not inspired or can't get inspired, I want to appreciate my aliveness, appreciate just being alive, and start with that kind of baseline. Anyway, how did I get going on that? How I got going on that is, when you have a framework for your year and you're going to focus on this, like I said, if you're focusing on integrity, you're going to tell the truth. If you're focusing on intuition, you're going to follow your heart instead of maybe what your head is telling you as logical, and think, I can't really see a concrete reason for this, but I know in my heart this is really what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do. So having that word gives you a framework, just like having a view of the world gives you a framework for how you see things and everything. And I really think this is one of the reasons why organized religion is so huge and everything, right? Because we want a framework to make things make sense. And so I think that's enough. I think that's enough for today. But maybe one of those 3 things might help you if you're in a situation, or if you're feeling disappointed or whatever. And I also want to say, even if I was feeling extremely disappointed, it's okay. It's okay to feel disappointed. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel righteous and wronged. And, anything that you're feeling is okay. We don't want to push our emotions or anything away. But I was really just looking at that and thinking, I wonder why I'm not real disappointed about that. And then these 3 things kind of emerged, and I wanted to share it. So there it is. And I think that's it. I want to thank you for being here. You made it to the end of a video. You totally deserve a medal. I'm telling you, you totally deserve a medal. And just thank you so much for being here, and I'll catch you next time. I want to say thank you to my patrons on Patreon, because we have this little community over there that I love so much, and I just appreciate each and every one of you. If you are here, then I'll put the list of patrons up to the side. I have a bunch who've been with me since last year, and then a few new ones so far this year, which is wonderful. And I think eventually we're going to start maybe putting together events. Like, if I get to stay on the road and if this whole thing continues, I really want to kind of develop that part of the journey and develop more relationship. Because one of the things being at the RTR and everything really has taught me too is that I got a great deal of kind of vitality and fun and energy from being around some of those people and events. Not everyone. I mean, I'm human. I like some people more than others or whatever. Not that I like them good or bad. It's like some people you click with, and some people are really nice people, but there's not that click, right? That like, oh, you're my peeps. Like, I know there's some kind of connection, right? And I feel that with so many of my patrons, I think just because, they've had that interest and stuff. And I don't want to exclude, though, people who might be completely clicking, but don't have the money to donate or to, whatever every month. Even if it's $3. Hey, sometimes $3 a month is too much. Sometimes some months it is, and some, I've been there and am there kind of now, so I totally get it. Anyway, I don't want to exclude anyone, but I do want to take the kind of patron relationship in Patreon and that smaller group that we have there into more depth, and I'm trying to get some inspiration for how to do that. And because a lot of people there I know would love it, and some people are like, I just want to support you, just keep what you're doing what you're doing. I love it, but I don't need like more than that. So anyway, I'm just kind of brainstorming out loud here. I don't know. So now that I think of it, if I did events, I wouldn't want to exclude regular subscribers either, but I am thinking about maybe for next year, if I get to go to RTR and everything, I will definitely be doing like a little meet and greet like I did with some of the other YouTubers that I follow, and I found those to be really, really powerful and cool. Meeting Donna Van Life, meeting Travel Grandma, meeting Carol from Glorious Life on Wheels. So many people. And so I really loved it. Box Van D, Minivan Lee and Box Van D, I met both. So, and Tim from Mobank Free Bucks. Anyway, so many people, but I definitely want to do something like that. I'm just brainstorming, and now I'm just really kind of rambling, so I need to get off here right now. Thank you so much. Now you really deserve a medal. Double medals. If you're still here, double medals. Tell me in the comments and I'll give you 2 medals. I'm going to have to find some way to have medals at my events too. Anyway, I would love that. So I am an introvert, but I like smaller groups, and I do love like my people, like people who, you know, people who are here, people who really kind of get it. We just connect on a different level. Anyway, I just want to thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I hope this helps someone. I'll talk to you next time.